Hello there, and welcome to episode 2 of the Rebel Roost. If you're watching this on YouTube for the second time that we're posting a video on there, you're seeing our faces, our wonderful, lovely faces.
We're sorry
Look
in
at
advance.
the camera, buddy.
We're sorry in advance.
What are we sorry in advance for?
That they're seeing our faces.
Yeah, that's true. Very, very true. So this one, it's a little weird just because we got to look at the camera now. Spencer. Now, if you aren't familiar with us, my name is Colin. This is Spencer.
Hello.
We are workers. We do work together, and we have a lot of fun with it, and we enjoy our time there. But we also just love Star Wars, so we are now in a Star Wars podcast. So we have an actually really fun episode for y'all today. Spencer, what are we doing?
Well, we are doing a top 5 favorite aliens in Star Wars, and this is definitely the first time we've recorded this.
Yeah.
Nothing went wrong. I promise.
In addition to that, we are also going to give an honorable mention between our second choice and first choice of aliens. I know you've got some really weird ones that I have barely ever seen because of very quick cutscenes. Mine are kind of popular ones just because I think that some of them are very freaking cool.
No, they're all cool.
So we are going to switch over to our next scene, which, granted, for you, we're going to look up a little bit just because that's where I have the monitor. Sorry for people who have died. You good?
I'm good.
All right.
Let's do it.
So we are going to go on to the PowerPoint, and this is my first choice, Neimoidian. I think I finally got that one. I've been trying to say that for years. These guys are honestly my bottom one because they are awful. You can see off in the center here. I wonder if it'll pick up. It picks it up. This guy is one of the more head guys. He was from the Phantom Menace. This is the Trade Federation ambassador and the senator. And this guy, I believe, is from...
He's just one of the controllers, I think.
He's one of the controllers in episode 1. But these guys are just absolutely devious and annoying as heck. Especially since they play that they're neutral in the first Civil War. Oh,
the Clone Wars.
Sorry, I gotta say Clone Wars because first Civil War that was
that was
thousands of years before even the Republic. So anyway, these guys are my bottom one.
Yeah, I mean, but they're credit where credit's due. They're a really cool design. I mean, and it wouldn't be on this list if they weren't memorable. And they are very memorable aliens, being one of the big bads from Phantom Menace. Mm-hmm. And then I do know that a little trivia is that they are a closely related species to the, I believe, Duro species, which is what Cad Bane is.
Yeah, that is. I can kind of see that. The eyes and then just the colored skin, the facial structure.
It's definitely different.
Definitely different. I know some of the guys the guy over here, his face is kind of indented on the cheeks, which is what Bane had because he's got those breathing tube thingies.
Yeah.
No idea what that is. I don't think do we have him on our list? His species?
I'm not sure. Let's find out.
Yeah.
Let's go to my number 5.
His number 5.
The Zex-2.
Ugh.
I just think this is just a really creative looking design. So this one also appeared in the Phantom Menace for the first time. Kind of a theme going there.
Oh yeah. Where was that?
He was a pod racer. He was one of the pod racers. Specifically, I cannot remember his name off the top of my head, but I could have told you any other day.
Yeah,
you can comment that, by the way.
I think I remember him. That's such a his elbows. It's his elbows and knees. Are you trying to go head and kill people with that?
He's got some freaky elbows.
Beat some people alive with that one.
But it's pretty cool, and it adds into the lore behind pod racing of how it's so hard to do it and very few species can do it. And it makes sense why Zex-2 can do it, because they have 4 arms that they can make quick calculations. And just adds to the reason why Anakin was the one who said, I'm the only human alive that can do it. Because the Force was aiding him in that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just think it's a really cool design. Does it kind of look like the Kaminoans, but with the extra arms attached? Maybe a little bit, but I think they look pretty cool.
They do look pretty sick. I do think. I hate the neck.
Yeah.
That's kind of freaky. Like, are you trying to get yourself, like, choked and strangled alive?
You think when he eats, how long does it take for the food to go down his neck?
How would that feel?
I don't know. I just thought of that.
I'm gonna lose my appetite doing this.
I'm gonna lose sleep over this.
Yeah, this is gonna be.
Let's maybe just go to your fourth pick. That way we don't think about this too much. Yes.
So the core. Okay, so guys, I could have included the live-action version of this guy. He appears in The Mandalorian and.
Return of the Jedi was their first appearance.
Oh, Return of the Jedi. Yeah. I could not put that live one on here because they look so disgusting. You just see the little, like, 2 teeth on top, 1 tooth on the bottom, and that's freaky. These guys are awful. They caused the Civil War of Mon Cala because that was during the Clone Wars because they sided with Count Dooku and the shark Rift Hansen.
My cousin was just watching that arc.
Oh, I thought it was a good arc. I hated the Quarrens so much. The redemption arc was like okay. It's like you realize that like you're pawns and terrible. Right. These guys are squids, as you can kind of tell by like the weird things off the side and the 4 tentacles on front. I thought it was it's a good design. It's hideously disgusting,
but in a good way.
Not for me.
I think they're a cool design. Fun fact: they can actually spit ink.
Yeah.
And
I think we see that in the Clone Wars. One of them gets like attacked and they spit ink when they get killed.
And I think a highlight of the Clone Wars is what it was able to do.
Yeah.
And this speaks to how these species become memorable is that they added on to their lore.
Yeah.
You know, a background character in, you know, Return of the Jedi in Jabba's palace or the sail barge now is a memorable character from, you know, the Clone Wars in that they had their whole story and they, you know, we got to learn more about their species. So I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Don't mind me. I'm just like moving little stuff around.
Oh, okay.
I don't know how to make this. Yes.
Oh no!
Oh no! I'm fine. I'm fine. Huh?
Should we cut this out?
Nah.
Okay.
This is what happens in podcasting. Technical issues.
This is what happens whenever you're only 2 episodes in.
Yeah. Raise your chair up, my guy.
I don't know how you read.
Don't do this. That's not how it...
Right?
That's not as high as it goes. Oh, gosh.
There we go.
Yay! Now we're in, like, a similar height.
Yeah, which is really odd because I'm taller than you. Anyway, so that's the Quarren. Great species choice, Colin.
You guys suck.
No, they're squids. Okay.
Oh!
Okay.
Ew! Ew!
I discovered this. I discovered this alien, and it's been in my brain for a long time. This is called the Jakun. They only appear in about 2 shots in Star Wars. They're from The Last Jedi, so we got a sequel rep in here.
Ew.
And the best way to describe it is bubble butt dog. Because that's exactly what it is. Jakuns are bubble butt dogs. Because as you can see, this lady dog right here in the picture, she's got, you know, the dog next to her. And he's just floating. Like, there must be helium or something in that bubble he's got there. And he's just floating in the air. I don't know. Like, these are the kind of aliens that I look for. It's just like the most random design ever, and I want to shake the hand of the man the person who approved this.
I have a side story. If anyone has younger siblings or has seen the Buddy series from Netflix, they're like a bunch of golden retrievers, I think. They go on a space adventure where one of them has to go outside. Their jetpack runs out of fuel. They literally use the dog's fart to power it.
So a bubble butt dog.
It's a bubble. It's buttocks propulsion.
So yeah, I don't know.
I'm in pain, but this is painful to look at. Can we like move on soon?
I don't know. I could stare at it for a while. I think it's great.
Okay, we're gonna move on. Oh yeah, so this is my third choice. Of course, the most popular, Garazeb of the Lasat species. Their planet was transported, or well, no. Their secondary home was destroyed. Their original home was kept.
Yes.
And they eventually found it in Rebels season 2. Yes.
Yes.
It's Legacy of the Lasat.
Yes.
Don't ask me how I know these episodes.
I will not. If you don't ask me about my trivia, I won't ask you about your episode trivia.
But I like these guys. I think that it's a good character design. It's definitely human-like. It's very human-like, but the grabby feet that are basically hands, it's like a monkey.
Yeah.
I think it works out well.
Yeah, his feet are pretty cool. But I think my favorite trivia about this... Okay. My favorite trivia about this character is that this design is over 40 years old. When designing Star Wars, the first one, George Lucas had Ralph McQuarrie draw up stuff, and he said, I want you to draw this character who's going to be Han Solo's sidekick. He's an alien. He's going to be like big and furry. Ralph McQuarrie drew that design.
So this is almost Chewie.
This was almost Chewie, and then George said he wanted it to look more like a dog. And they updated, and that's where you got the modern Chewbacca. But for Rebels, Dave Filoni's inspiration for the art design was he wanted to go back and add some of that McQuarrie-style art. And you see that in some of the buildings, you see that in some of the character designs. Hence, Zeb. The Lasat species was actually based off unused Chewbacca art.
That would have been a cool Chewbacca.
It would have been a cool Chewbacca. Now, I love our Chewbacca, though.
Would have been really hard to model.
Yeah, and
so
I think...
Would the Lasat have been probably Chewbacca's species?
They probably would have been Wookiees.
Oh, that would
have... But...
I wouldn't like that. I think Wookiee is a really good name for what they are.
Yeah. So, but that is where the Lasat design comes from, and yeah, it's a great design. I love the purple. I think the purple color helps it stand out. Because how many purple aliens do you see? You see green aliens, you see blue aliens, purple aliens?
There was one, Zero from Clone Wars. Zero the Hutt.
Okay,
that's fair. Tiny purple.
But he's already a Hutt, so that doesn't count.
Yeah, that thing is, he's ugly.
Yeah, and annoying.
He's so awful. I hate him.
But anyway, yeah, great choice.
Let's see what your number 3?
I think so.
Teak. Huh?
Okay. So, let me preface this by saying the character is Teak, but the species is also Teak. It's the same thing. They're all just called Teak. This was a character.
Did Disney make this character? Because that's just lazy.
George Lucas technically made this character.
Oh, shoot. Forget what I said.
You insulted the maker.
I'm sorry.
So, well, technically, I don't think he really had much to do with it. Basically, back in the 80s, they made the Ewok live-action movies. They were little TV movies. They're on Disney+. That's your homework for this week.
I'm uncultured. Don't worry about it.
And in the second one, which was called The Battle for Endor, there is this little guy who is running around because he's not an Ewok, but he's called Teak. And, yeah, I just think he looks really cool. Like, you know, and he can run really fast. That's his thing. And he would help the Ewoks. So he's Ewok size, but he's not an Ewok. I don't know. I just like him. I think he's cool.
Definitely weird.
And he also appeared in Star Tours, which is the ride at Disney, at the Disney parks. And in the original version of the ride, he was in the safety video where they're telling you how to buckle up. They had a bunch of aliens, and they actually reused the costume. So there's your other... You're looking for that Ewok movie right now.
I'm looking for it right now.
No, actually...
Series and specials?
Maybe go to the search bar and find Star Wars Vintage. There should be a collection that's called the Star Wars Vintage Collection. There they are.
They actually are on there.
And there you go. So, I don't know. It's just a cute little alien guy. He's like a little gray gremlin thing. But I think he's cool. So, Disney, if you're watching, bring him back into canon, please. Please. Okay, so, what's your number 2?
Mine's the Pantoran. I actually really like this species because, A, There's no like they're all like decent fighters at that point.
Yeah.
Like I think they're just an all around cool species. Now granted they're extremely human like. The first time we saw them was in episode 3, I think, right?
I think Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah, because there's one guy in that photo, the guy who's got the giant head, the upside down cone thing, is actually modeled off of George Lucas.
He is?
Because George Lucas is the one who played the Pantoran chairman in episode 3, which is really cool. Now, granted, I don't know how the family thing, I want to say his name was Chairman Papanoida?
Yes, Chairman Papanoida.
Because Chairman Cho, I believe, was the one who we saw in the first season of the Clone Wars.
And he died.
And he died.
Spoiler alert, he died.
Yeah, sorry. He, not a great guy.
No, not a nice guy.
So, then he got replaced by this guy. They had a whole single episode arc, again, in season 3, I think.
Sounds about right.
Because that was the same season as the Mandalorian beginning arc. Spoiling stuff. Because Ahsoka came in and helped find the daughters. The daughters get kidnapped. They find them. Of course, it's a child's show.
Right.
Sorry, I've totally spoiled this. I thought these were great species. They're extraordinarily human-like.
Well, and to add on to it, yes, you're right. He was modeled after George Lucas. But he's not the only one in this picture who was modeled after a real person.
Wait, who? I don't know.
Those are all modeled after George's kids. Those two
Wait,
are
shut
modeled
up.
after George's daughters, and then that's modeled after George's oldest son.
Shut up. You're kidding.
No, because in Revenge of the Sith, Chief Papanoida, who is George Lucas, who, granted, I guess Papa is in his name, and maybe that's a reference, I'm not sure. He's talking to 2 girls, and those were his daughters, also in makeup.
That's pretty dang cool.
Yeah.
I
On
like
top
it.
of that, Katie Lucas, his daughter, also wrote episodes for the Clone Wars. Yeah. She's
I
pretty
wonder which ones.
You can look it up. Some of the best ones she actually looked up. Look it up later. But
Oh, fine.
yeah, so Pantorans, and there's one more thing that I noticed about Pantorans, and I don't know if this is intentional or not.
Okay.
They're blue, right? Human-like, for the most part. They live on a moon called Pantora, which orbits a larger planet.
Oh, yeah, it is a moon of Pantora.
And they kind of have an Australian accent.
Okay.
I think George Lucas copied the movie Avatar. Because they're blue people who orbit the moon of Pandora, and they're human-like, and then the main actor is Australian.
Question for you.
Yeah.
Which came first, though?
Well, Revenge
also,
of the
like-
Sith came out first, but that was just a cameo. Then the movie came out, then this episode came out, where they explored the background. So it really matters is when did they establish that it was the moon of Pantora? You can comment that too.
Yeah, that's a little weird, because also, Star Wars was modeled off of Dune, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Dune was an inspiration.
Yeah, so it's
There were
like
several
there's
inspirations.
several inspirations to make the all-around greatest, I'm going to say it, the greatest cinema storyline ever.
Yeah.
We're not counting the stuff that Disney has made, because I think George's plan was much better.
I think, yeah.
But
If you like the Disney stuff, that's fine, though.
So granted, for all the Lord of the Rings, Hobbit, whatever fans that are screaming at their phones right now, I don't know why you're watching a Star Wars podcast, because isn't it a common fact that you can't watch all of them?
I like Lord of the Rings.
I thought they were okay. I was 10 when I watched them, so.
We're getting off topic here.
Anyway, let's see your number 2.
The Leppy.
I thought that was Luke Skywalker for a second.
No. This is another character, and if you notice a theme with mine is that I like to pick random characters, but who also have an importance. This is another character who has been around for 40 years.
I mean, clearly, because that's a comic.
Yes, but this is a new comic.
Oh, it says 2020 on it.
He first appeared in the original Marvel comics that came out after Star Wars. Marvel invented the character. And so the main one's name is Jackson. Jaxxon.
Okay.
And this is a character that George Lucas famously hated. because he said he looked like he was Green Bugs Bunny in Star Wars. So George tried to basically erase him ever existing. And he mostly succeeded in that, although there was one time where I think they made, actually 2 times they've kind of referenced him, and both appear in the Clone Wars. The first is the little bunny droids that the Separatists use were called LEP droids. LEP, Leppy.
Fun fact, they were actually used by the Republic too. They were on the on Voyage of Temptation. That's one of the Mandalorian arcs. The bunny droids are on there.
Okay, I got another Clone Wars for you though.
Oh no.
A skeleton that looks remarkably close to Jackson's was also in the show. It was in the episode where the droids were stuck in the void and they found a crashed ship.
Oh.
There is a skeleton that has rabbit-like features, and he's wearing a red jumpsuit. And so I think partially George put that in so that way he could kill the rabbit.
Yeah. Kill the rabbit, kill the rabbit. Sorry, I'm going to get copyrighted for singing it so well.
So, but Disney did bring him back into canon with the modern comics, and he has appeared in a few things.
Okay.
So, it's just a fun little pick. He's kind of a fun little character. He's a smuggler, and I don't know. I just always think that whenever they are able to pull old characters from Legends back into canon, it's kind of cool.
I prefer the pirates, not the smugglers, as Kondo Naka has said.
True. All right, so I think you have an honorable mention before we get to number
I do. And then
So-
you have 2, right?
Yeah, I couldn't decide, so I... and honestly, I probably could have done 15 more, but I had to cut this down.
Mine! The Harch. Also, the key player is Admiral... I was about to say French. It's Trench.
He might be French.
Is he French?
I don't think so.
Okay. Anyway, Admiral Trench, one of the Separatists' greatest admirals. Also one of the coolest species because it's a spider. Even though it's only 6 eyes, you got the little things on the front. You got 6 arms, 2 legs. One thing as I was looking for this image that I actually have never realized is that the fan art for the Harch is actually really cool. Because you find Harch Sith Lords, and they either use 3 lightsaber pikes, or I've seen 6 actual lightsabers.
Disney, if you're watching, please make that like
Yes.
an old Republic Sith.
Oh my
that
gosh.
That sounds sick.
That would be incredible. Like these things are crazy. Because also, like, I mean, we never saw Admiral Trench fight because he was on his command ship the first episode we saw. And the second time, after he'd gotten 3 of his limbs replaced and half his face replaced, I don't know how he lived through that. He literally got blown up directly by a missile. It's like Star Wars. You didn't see the character die. So...
If a character does not on screen die, that means they're probably still alive.
Now, granted, he'd alive in season 6 or 6, mainly 7.
Yes,
is
7
where
he
we
makes a
see
big
him.
comeback.
He makes a huge comeback with 7, and that's the one that I really like, because he's still got his brain that is just calculating everything.
And then he also has a little stick he could use to fight.
Yeah, and that's an electrical, like, the ball of it is, like, an electrocution thing, which is kind of cool.
But it is a really cool design, and I feel like we've said that so much, but I think that was the inspiration.
I just realized, is that fur thing around his neck, like, his actual fur, or is that just his coat? It looks like it's just his coat, because it's, like, there's a lining around the bottom.
I don't know. But I think that's just the beauty of, like, you know, like, there's just such cool designs, and we could go on forever talking about different cool designs of aliens, but it's just...
How about let's move on to yours, because I know you've got 2, and that's probably gonna take us a while.
That's fair. But, alright.
I'm just kidding.
Tease. But yeah, it's just a really cool design, cool character, scary character with it being a spider.
Yeah.
But
it doesn't resemble it. Like, I didn't realize it was a spider until actually taking a closer look at it. I just thought he was a really cool character with 6 arms. And
yeah. I mean, he's got 8 limbs, so he is a spider.
I thought he was like a, like some kind of animal, like anteater or something like that. Like some kind of weird thing.
That's a crazy looking
I just realized in this image, it looks like he's flipping us off. A little bit.
Well, maybe a little. But he's not a nice guy. So
he is not, so that wouldn't surprise me.
But yes, my honorable mentions, I couldn't decide between two. On the left, and I realize the words are backwards, but on the left is an Ortolan. And, of course, that is our beloved Max Rebo from the Max Rebo Band, who played in Jabba's Palace, who played on Jabba's Sail Barge, and then we thought he blew up. But as it turns out, he survived somehow, because once again, if you don't die on screen, that means you're probably alive. And he showed up in the Book of Boba Fett. Oh, yeah, Boba Fett, too. So...
No, I thought that was just... Like, I don't even know what the creature is, but it's just like... It reminds me of an elephant. It's like, he's just like an all-around happy guy. We see him in the Clone Wars all the time playing it. Yeah. Music. I'm just like, cool.
And what people say is that what he's playing with are actually his feet. He does not have arms. So he walks and plays with his feet.
So does he wear gloves or shoes? Like really thick gloves?
I don't think so.
Okay, that would be
So anyway, but that's just kind of a cool alien and a lot of history. And then the next one is mainly for the memes.
That's a sequel trilogy guy, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a Trototome, but better known as Claude. And Claude was in The Rise of Skywalker. He had a minor character.
Repair guy? Isn't he a repair guy?
Yes, he was a mechanic on the Millennium Falcon, and this is something I think the movie could have jabbed at a little bit more for fun. But the joke is that how is he repairing anything? He's got no arms.
You don't know, those feet might be multi-purpose.
Maybe, but he's got no arms, and he's just a funny-looking guy. And I think that's why I like him. He's just a funny-looking guy, and then another of his species appeared in the Jedi Survivor game. And that was kind of a neat...
I have yet to play those.
They're really good games. I highly recommend.
I know.
So...
I have enough hobbies.
That's fair.
I spend enough money.
That's fair. But, with that out of the way, let's get to your number one.
Alright, my number one, I actually really enjoy this character. I really hope that Disney does a lot more development with him, because even we saw him in animated, and we love him in the live action because he's played so well. I think you know who this is.
I know who it is.
It is the Chiss, also the greatest character I have ever seen in Star Wars. I'm going to say it, the greatest character.
Wow.
Grand Admiral Thrawn. Absolute crap ton of wins under his belt. He creates the First Order after being
Well, we don't know that yet.
That's true. That's kind of like up in the air, like he is the creation of it. This man is the absolute pinnacle of it. But the reason that I like their species is because they are all like that. I think there's a female Chiss in like a comic that basically is Thrawn female.
Yes, I believe her name is Aralami.
That's a cool name, actually.
And Thrawn, that's only the shorten of his name. His real name is Mithran Nuradu.
Mithran Nuradu?
Yeah, but he calls himself Thrawn for short.
I mean, who wants to pronounce that name?
Yeah. So, but the Chiss, they live outside of the known galaxy.
Yeah.
Or, well, they're in the galaxy, but they're in the area known as wild space. That is not charted at all. Nobody knows what's out there, but they have managed to survive and thrive through there. And they actually are able to travel using one thing that their species has, which is the teenage, members of the Chiss species, primarily females, are force sensitive.
Oh.
And that's how they're able to navigate through hyperspace, is having them navigate for them. And that plays into the book Thrawn Alliances, because Thrawn meets Anakin during the Clone Wars.
Right.
And so when Anakin introduces himself as Anakin Skywalker, Thrawn seems intrigued, and you find out later it's because he said, in our native tongue, when we talk about these children who can navigate through the Force, we call them Skywalkers. And it's a trait that wears off when the children, reach adulthood. So it's primarily just teenage girls. It's very rare for boys to have it. But, like you said...
Watch Thrawn have had... Was that how Thrawn got out? Is he, traveled because of that and then got out?
Thrawn was a scout from the Chiss Ascendancy. And they wanted to see if the Empire would be a good partner for the Chiss Ascendancy, because they were dealing with their own problems. They wanted to know if the Empire would be able to help aid them. So they sent Thrawn to check. But Thrawn and all of their species are intelligent like that. And Thrawn is just a different level of officer because he's able to look at the art of the species and know exactly what they're doing.
Yeah, he does an incredible job with this. I love his character.
He's so good.
I think they did him great in Ahsoka. I know he didn't have a lot of screen time, but I was like, dang. Yeah. His end line of, like, long live the Empire.
Yes.
That is incredible.
That was sick. And then, I love the fact that in Rebels, the only time he's ever really defeated is by something he could have never planned on. Which was the space whales coming out and just taking him away. Because every single other time, he had them pegged. And even in that moment, he had them. Because he had his ship parked over the city, and he's like, they're not going to launch the shuttle.
He should have just blown up the dome. Or not the dome. He should have just blown up the city regardless and just kept on firing.
Maybe, but he also knew he wanted to take prisoners.
Yeah.
Because Palpatine wanted Ezra. So he's like, I know they're not going to launch this thing if the people are hurt. So let me just hold back, and they're going to come to me. So he's just a master tactician. He could never have planned for space whales.
Yeah. Anyway, what's your number one?
My number one is one that I didn't put in the name of. But this is the Yuzum.
Sucker.
And there's a theme here.
Ew.
And there was a theme with yours, by the way, blue humanoids.
Yeah.
So the theme of mine is characters who are on Endor.
Wacky bugs.
Well, kind of. I mean, furry bug. So on the right is the design I like better than the one on the left.
The one holding the gun or the one who's got a weird face smile?
The one who's holding the gun.
Okay.
So that was a design that was used in the background of Jabba's palace. And if you look hard enough in the Jabba's palace scenes, you can see him. You just gotta look hard. And I prefer this design because I always will prefer a practical alien to a CG alien.
Yeah.
Because I'm not trying to deny the work that CG artists do, but there is something special about having a practical alien there. And granted, this one didn't move at all, but...
Yeah. I mean, CG aliens can look really cool. I mean, there's a lot of aliens that are all just CG. And I mean, I've watched Corridor Crew or Corridor Digital. I can never remember which one it is because my brain, I haven't watched them in a while. They do their series of VFX artists react, and they react.
Oh, yeah.
They react to this kind of stuff, and it's like,
right.
Oh, shoot.
So I like the physical design. The CG design was in the special editions of the original trilogy when George Lucas decided to add the whole Jedi Rocks scene to Jabba's palace. And I just don't like that design. I don't know. It just comes across weird to me. And plus, at one point, you see the inside of his mouth, and he's, like, drooling, and it's just weird. Mm-hmm. But I prefer the design, and they are called Yuzum. I don't know if I mentioned that. And they are from the moon of Endor. They actually don't get along well with the Ewoks, and they ride giant spiders.
The Ewoks went against them a lot, right?
It's kind of a stalemate. They're actually more advanced than the Ewoks are, as you can see, because this one is holding a gun. The Ewoks don't use guns. But I don't know. He even though it's a minimalist design, especially for the one on the right, there's just something that speaks out to me about it because it just feels Star Wars to me. It's weird, it's wacky, but it also is interesting.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I wanted to do this, is just to highlight some of the designs that people have made over the past 45 years of Star Wars. And it's just...
Isn't it 47 now?
1977 is when the first one came out.
Oh, no, so it is 45.
It's about 45. So
just 50 years, like, it's going to be Star Wars heaven everywhere in the world. I can't wait for that.
Yeah. So
Disney's going to be packed. I'm never going there for that.
So just to highlight, a few of these guys, a few of these different creatures, species, and just give credit to the wonderful and talented people who made them, I think was just something special I wanted to do with this.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think that will do it for this. You want to tease the next episode?
I want to do... Well, we got to debate on what it's going to be, and, like, we're going to have multiple ideas. We'll hear... if you've got ideas in the comments of what you want us to do, go for it. I want to do Navy Fleet reviews. Stuff even going back as far as the Rakuten?
The Rakuten.
Rakuten. fudge. The Rakatan Empire, because I thought those ships were pretty cool. Mainly how they were built, but if you don't know that, we're not going to spoil that. All the way up to the First and Final Order.
Right.
I'm not going to do... I don't really like the Exegol Rebel fleet because it's just people.
It's not really a fleet, although I will say, there are some interesting cameo ships that appear.
There are some interesting cameo ships, but that's stuff we might go over next time. What do you think we should do next time?
I think that would be a great idea for an episode. We could go over the different fleets, and
we're gonna need more time to prep, my guy.
Yeah, maybe we divide it. We divide the fleets in half, and that way we can tackle them individually.
Yeah.
And even ships like the Rebel fleet, which seems like we know everything from the original trilogy, there were other ships in the Rebel fleet that were really cool. Like, for example, the Starhawks that could literally pull in a Star Destroyer with a massive tractor beam.
Yeah, that's basically just an interdictor cruiser, though.
Kind of, but it was also their answer to the Star Destroyer, which is something that they didn't really have. They had the Mon Cala ships, but they were not Star Destroyer level.
I like how many Imperial Star Destroyer types there are.
There are a lot.
I mean, the ISD 1 and 2 are the main ones. There's the Executor, which is like also some Dreadnoughts that we'll probably include. The Imperials had a lot of Dreadnoughts. There's actually one type that I found recently called the Predator class.
I haven't heard of that, so leave it a surprise. I want to hear about this.
It's cool. It looks like it's a Star Destroyer. It takes on from like the Victory.
Oh, okay.
But like, I think it's cool. I think it's much better and much more destructive.
So it sounds like that's what we're gonna end up doing.
Anyway, yeah, that's what we're gonna do. So
but anyway,
let's switch back off of this ugly guy back to our beautiful faces.
My beautiful face. Anyway,
twerp.
I think that'll wrap it up for us today. I hope that you have an excellent day. Take care, and of course, may the Force be with you. Bye.
I'm just kidding. I'm just all right. 40